Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you how to play Nidavellir. Now, I want to give a big thank you to the companies behind Nidavellir, which I believe are Grrrr Games and BlackRock Games, as well as Hachette Board Games, who distributes the game here in the United States. Thank you to all of you for this review copy of Nidavellir to play and have fun with and film some video content with. Thank you guys at Grrrr Games, BlackRock Games, and Hachette Games. Now, before I get too into this, I do want to say I've got a ton of links in the description down below that you can check out at your leisure. There's a link to BoardGameCaptain.com, which is a great hub for all things Board Game Captain. There's also a link to my Teespring store where you can get some cool t-shirts and mugs, etc. Like this shirt here that says, I drink and I game, it's what I do, as well as others. And there's a link to my Patreon if you're in a position to and would like to support the channel. All in the description down below. So Nidavellir is designed by Serge Laget. Gonna show that there. And the artist you can see there is either Jean-Marie or Jean-Marie Minguez. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. I gave you two possible pronunciations for the artists. So Nidavellir is a bidding game, but it's been described to me before as a bidding game for people who don't like bidding games, which is very interesting. And I was very intrigued to try it out. Plus, I had heard a lot of really good things about this one before I got my review copy of it. Now, the game is listed for 2 to 5 players for 45 minutes and for ages 10 and up. Now, the 45 minutes, I usually like a range, and I would prefer a range here, but this is not a bad estimate. Different numbers of players don't significantly increase the time. They do increase it a little bit, for more players, but because a lot of the game actually happens simultaneously while you're all figuring out what your bids are for the 3 main bids, more players don't have the same amount of increase in time as you would in another game where everybody has each just fully individual turns. There are individual turns later, and you'll see all that during the tutorial portion, but like I say, it's reduced how much they increase the time. So 45 minutes is not a terrible estimate, but it can go longer at larger player counts. Now, the 2 to 5 players, yes. I've played this game at multiple player counts, and I have to tell you, it plays very well, equally well, in my opinion, at 2 as it does at larger player counts, which is a really good plus for this game, I have to say. Now, ages 10 and up, I'm gonna agree with this. The base mechanics of the game are not too complicated. I maybe might go a year or over, but you know what? With people to help out a 10-year-old, I don't think this is much of a problem if you have older people playing this game. Or if it's a 10-year-old in a house that plays a lot of board games, it's probably going to be fine with this. So let's have a look at what comes in the box. The first thing here, these are some card stands that you use to hold the hero cards, as well as these cards that you get as rewards for having the most of the different classes of dwarves at the end of the first stage. I'm going to show you all that later. There's also a really nice pad for scoring. There is no insert, just FYI. That is a minor gripe of mine, but actually this game may not really need it. You've got a bunch of cardboard punch-out pieces. There are these big pieces for the taverns. There's 3 of them, which each have unique symbols for their taverns. There's a dragon, there's a horse, and there's a goblin for the 3 different taverns. We have a lot of cardboard punch-out chits for like tiebreakers and for coins with all different values. These are pretty standard, lots of similar cardboard punch-out chits. These are cardboard pieces to remind you to change these tie gems in case of a tie. I'm going to go over that while I'm showing you how to play the game. And then there's a ton of cards, and you're going to see a lot of these out on the table. You have Era 1 cards that have a single yellow gem on the back, and then on the front, these are mostly dwarves of the different classes. So like explorers and miners here, or warriors and rangers here. These are warriors and rangers, or blacksmiths. These are the main regular classes of dwarves in the game. And then there are Era 2 cards, which have 2 pink gems on the back. There are also hero cards, which have special abilities, or sometimes count as more than one of a dwarf of a particular class, or have special scoring mechanisms. You've got these personal player boards, which are very nice. There's a bunch of these. Now, on one side, we have the areas for you to bid on the 3 different taverns here. And then on the other side, we have a little cheat sheet for scoring, specifically the Rangers and the Miners, because their scoring is a little complicated if you don't have a cheat sheet. Everyone else is pretty easy. And then we have a spot for the tiebreaker gems up here. We also have this really awesome, and you only have to assemble this once, then you can just sort of leave it in the box assembled. This is a big stand to put all the coins on. I'll probably show a picture up on the screen right here to show you what it looks like with all the coins on it. But this is great. This sits off to the side. You have all the coins on it. As people upgrade to higher value coins, they get them from that stand. And then we have the rule book. Now the rule book is fairly thick, and that can be a little intimidating, but it is great. It has lots of diagrams, full color diagrams, really well worked out so that it's easy to learn to play and then easy to teach. And then the reason it's so thick is because there's a glossaries in the back with a bunch of references of how to do the different parts of the turn, as well as the specific effects of all the different like hero cards. Some of them are more advanced than others. In reality, learning to play the game really only goes up to page 13. The first 13 pages are how to play the game. And then the rest of the pages, and it goes all the way up to page 24 for the back, or, you know, specific clarifications on different things and some of the more complicated things. But really, it's only the first 13 pages to learn how to play, and you can get up and going with this game. So it's actually not as complicated as you might think at first glance for how thick this rule book is. So, all right, so we're going to head over and we're going to run you through a few turns and show you how this game plays. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk about how this game plays and feels, and I'm going to rate it and review it. Okay, so here we are set up to play a 2-player game of Nidavellir. In order to set up the game, you need to place out the 3 tavern markers in the middle of the table, each one with a little reminder to switch, in case of a tie, the tiebreaker stones. You deal random tiebreaker stones to each player. In the case of a 2-player game, you just use the 4 and 5. Whoever has the higher one, the 5, is the tiebreaker in the case of ties. You'll see that later in the game. Each player takes their own little dashboard to keep track of both of the taverns as well as which coins are in their purse, and also the scoring for both the Rangers and the Blacksmiths. You shuffle up the Era 1 deck and the Era 2 deck, and you place out, though you can't see it here, I'm going to show pictures up on the screen, you place out card holders with the cards for the heroes. There are gray heroes of 2 different types, as well as heroes of the 5 different classes, which are blue, which are explorers, purple, which are blacksmiths, green, which are rangers, red, which are warriors, and orange, which are miners. There is also a card holder for the distinction cards, which are awarded at the end of age 1 for the player who has the most of each of the classes of dwarves. Again, being, of course, blacksmith, warrior, ranger, miner, and explorer. Then you place out the cardboard 3-tiered holder for all of the different value coins, which you can earn through the game. Now at this point, you're basically ready to play. So we're going to show you how this goes. We each have our group of starting coins. I'm on this side of the table here. These are my starting bid coins.
I'm over on this side, and these are my coins.
And we are ready to play. So now for each round of the first age, the first thing you're going to do is deal up first age cards into each tavern. Now in a 3 through 5 player game, you deal out a number of cards equal to the number of players, but in a 2-player game, you deal out 1 extra card. So it'll be 3 cards in each tavern. So in the first tavern, we get a miner here with a value of 1. We get a ranger, and we get a second ranger. In the second tavern, we get an explorer with a value of 7. We get a explorer with a value of 5. And we get a warrior with a value of 6. And in the third and final tavern, we get a explorer with a value of 6. We get an explorer with a value of an 11. And we get a warrior with a value of 7. Now we're going to place our bids. We place them on our boards here. We're going to place 1 bid each on 3 boards, and we're going to place 2 coins in our purse face down, and that is for our 0 bid to improve some of our coins, which we're going to show you in a moment. We'll be right back after placing our bids. All right, so we've placed all of our bids and our coins in our purse. We're ready to go. So first thing we do is we reveal the bid for the first tavern. I bid a 3.
I bid a 4.
So Lynn has outbid me in the first tavern. That means she gets the first pick of which dwarf to recruit.
I'm going to get the minor.
Which was a good choice considering it was the only minor on the table so far. So well done. I will take one of the rangers. Now in a 2-player game, there is an extra card which just gets discarded once everyone has done their bid. So now we're going to reveal our bid for the second one, and I have bid my 0.
I have a 2.
So Lynn beats me to the bid with a 2. Lynn, which of these dwarves would you like to recruit?
I would like the 7 Explorer.
So Lynn takes the 7 Explorer, adds it to her dwarves next to her board there. I am going to take the 6 Warrior and add him to my board, discarding the 5 Explorer. But now, because I bid 0, I get to upgrade one of my coins. So the way this works is I will reveal the 2 coins I placed in my purse, which I placed a 5 and a 4, that combined equals 9. Now the larger of the 2 coins in my purse, the 5, will be discarded and replaced with the 9 from the stand off camera here, like so. And that is going to be it for my turn. And then the final bid, I have the 2.
I have a 0.
Okay, so now I have outbid Lynn over here. So I am going to take the 11 value Explorer.
I'm going to take the 7 Warrior, and then I can exchange my 5 for an 8.
So I will pass you the 8 coin. Here you go. Now to start us off for round 2, we're going to take back all our coins, including the new ones we have upgraded, and we're going to deal out 3 new cards to each of the taverns. The first tavern gets a 6 Warrior, a Ranger, and a 2 Minor, while the second tavern gets a +3 card. If you go for this, you will get to increase the value of one of your coins by 3. It also gets a Blacksmith and a 4 Warrior. And our last tavern gets a 9 Warrior, very powerful, a 5 Warrior, and a second Blacksmith. Okay, so we're going to place our bids and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. So we were going to reveal our first bids for the first tavern. I put the 9 there.
I put the 4.
Okay, and it's because I really wanted to get this minor. Now I'm trying to get a set of 1 of each class. So now I have 4 of the classes. Lynn, what are you taking?
I'm going to take the Ranger.
Lynn also has a set of 4 classes. And again, the last guy is going to get discarded. Now let's reveal our second bid. I have my 4.
I have the 0.
Okay, so I'm going to get to go first, and I will get to take this here Blacksmith. Now that means I get a full set of every class, 1 of every class. Now what that means is I get to get a hero. Now recruiting hero, there are the, as I explained before, there are 3 stands at the end of the table that have lots of heroes on them, and they can give me all sorts of special abilities. The heroes of each of the classes usually can count for a lot of points or count for as multiple heroes in some cases of that particular class, which can help me earn more heroes in the future, while the gray heroes often have lots of abilities to either get me tricksy abilities or extra points. But in the first half of the game, it's usually better to go for the heroes of specific classes. I've chosen to take the hero of Aral, who counts as 2 Rangers. When I place him on my Ranger here, he is 1 card, but as you can see here from the symbols on the left, he actually counts as 2 Rangers. So I currently count as having 3 Rangers. He will aid me in getting sets in the future. So, Lynn, which card would you like to take?
I'm going to take the upgrade, the coin card.
So, which coin would you like to upgrade?
Is
it one you haven't used yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to upgrade this coin.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a 5 if I upgraded it.
All right. So now this is a card Lynn hasn't revealed yet, but she's claiming it is the card, the number 2 coin, which means that the card will upgrade it to a 5. She places the 5 on it, and later she will reveal and prove that she was telling the truth, and therefore get her 5 coin there.
So I have the 3 and the 2, which I upgraded to a 5.
Right. So which means that now for your 0, you get to trade in the 5 for a 8. Oh, here's that. Now you have 2 8s. Well done. Now the gold 5, because it is one of the ones that goes on the board that is off camera, it goes back to the 2 there. The starting coins get discarded when you upgrade them. So now we will reveal our final bid for the final tavern. I put my 0 there.
I have my 8.
Okay, so Lynn, which one would you like to take?
I'm going to take the blacksmith so I can have a full set.
And recruit a hero.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to recruit the miner that counts as 3 miners.
3 miners, 2 0 value and 1 1 value. Very nicely done. I am going to recruit the 9 value warrior because that is really awesome. I'll discard the last one here. And then because I had a 0, I will reveal that I had a 2 and a 3, and my 3 will get replaced with a 5. Now, this is how you play the game. You go on playing rounds and rounds of this until you run out of the deck for the first age, which has the single yellow gem on the back of the cards. Now, if you ever get a tie with another player, the tiebreakers are done by your tiebreaker stones. This was something we didn't get to show, but if let's say Lynn and I had both bid our 4 coins for the same tavern, I would break the tie, but then as shown with these little tokens after the tavern, if there's a tie, you then swap with the person you tied with. In a larger player game, if there's a 3-way tie, the person who won the 3-way tie swaps with the person who had to choose last. And the person in the middle stays with the same number tiebreaker stone. Now you play until you run out of the age 1 deck, at which point you award the distinction cards to the player who has collected the most of each of the classes of dwarves. If there is a tie, no one gets the particular distinction. And each of the distinctions do interesting different things. The blacksmith distinction gives you a free dwarf, which counts as 2 dwarves, kind of like that hero I got from the Rangers. The warrior distinction lets you upgrade one of your coins by 5. The ranger distinction allows you to trade in your 0 coin, the one you use to upgrade coins, for a 3 coin that you can still use to upgrade coins, but it counts as a 3, so it'll beat all 0s and 2s when it is up against them. The minor distinction gives you a tiebreaker golden stone, which counts as a automatic tiebreaker win all the time, and you never trade it away. And the explorer distinction allows you to draw 3 cards from the top of the age 2 deck, choose one of them to keep and immediately use. If it's a dwarf, you place it immediately with the rest of your dwarves, and you shuffle the other 2 cards back into the age 2 deck. At the end of the age 2 deck, when you run out of cards in the age 2 deck, which you do again just like age 1, but now you're using your cool asymmetrical powers you earned from your distinction cards as well as other dwarves you've collected in age 1, you count up your points. Now, points are different for each of the classes of dwarves. For the ranger and blacksmith dwarves, which are green and purple respectively, their points are shown on your dashboard. It is based on how many you have of each class. The warrior dwarves are based on the added value of each warrior you have collected. Plus, if you have the most warriors, you also get to add in the value of your largest valued coin to their points. The explorer dwarves, which are blue, you just add up the sum of all their points. The orange minor dwarves are the sum of their points times or multiplied by the number of dwarves you have collected, and that is how you score all of the different types of dwarves. You then add in the points equal to the value of all of the coins you have collected. So the higher value coins are going to be worth quite a bit, plus extra value from the points of the lots of different hero dwarves that don't have a particular class. For instance, there are 5 hero dwarves that you can set collect that if you that are called the Dwerg brothers, where if you have one of them, they're worth 13 points, 2 of them, they're worth 40, 3, they're worth 81, 4, they're worth 108, and if you collect all 5, they're worth 135 points. So there are lots of ways to get points in this game. So now we're going to head back over, going to talk about how this game plays and how it feels, and going to rate it and review it. Okay, welcome back. So that is how you play a game of Nidavellir. So first off, let me start with some negatives. The only, and this is rough. I feel like I'm grasping at straws for a negative on this one. I always like to end on the positives, and there's going to be a lot of positives. So spoiler alert, I'm gonna be rating this game very highly. The only negative I have is that there's no insert, and that's so minor. It is such a ridiculously minor insert. I'd actually rather no insert than a bad insert, like just a trough or something. Half the time I just throw those away. Recycle them actually, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's really all I can think of. Otherwise, this game is fantastic. All right, so positives. First off, I love the look of the game, the art of the cards, the symbols, the symbology is very clear. You will need to look up some of the more complicated heroes a few times before you realize what all the symbols mean. But once you do, you're like, oh yeah, that's that wild card who can do lots of different things. So yeah, but the look of the game is great. The second thing is, like I had said in the beginning, this is a bidding game that is good for people who don't like bidding games. Now, I'd heard people describe it this way before, but it really is. So Lynn is not a fan of bidding games, and she's been really digging this game, actually. We've played it a bunch. And she said that the reason she likes Nidavellir, while not usually liking bidding games, is you never feel like you're really outbid. You know, you're outbid in the fact that someone else will go before you in choosing the dwarf from the particular tavern, but you still get something. You're never left empty-handed. And sometimes you bid intentionally, letting them outbid. You bid the 0 to upgrade your coins. And sometimes you want to be sneaky and you're like, oh, I think my opponent's going to bid really high here. So you know what? Rather than fight them for it because I think they have a higher coin than I do, I'm just going to bid 0 there. And I'm just going to be like, you know what? It's fine. There's 2 rangers there. I'll take one of the rangers. I don't care. And I'll just get to upgrade one of my coins. And now, you know what? Next round, I'm going to have a higher coin than they do. And that's really, really awesome. Yeah, it is really cool. Everybody gets something. The bidding, you do want to win the bid, but you don't always have to win the bid. And there are lots of tricksy mechanics you can get to mess with things. There are dwarves that have things that mess with the bid. There's a dwarf that gives you the ability to see everyone else bid, and then you put your bid down, which is crazy powerful. There's one of the awards you get after the first stage that you can get that will let you win all tiebreakers. There's guys that count as wilds, and you can pick them up at the end of the first stage and the end of the second age, and make them count as a different class. So you can get tricksy with that for your points, to mess with your points and be able to get more points than your opponents had anticipated you being able to get. There's lots going on here. There's a lot of different strategies. There's a bit of a point salad at the end with so many ways to earn points. All of the different dwarf classes earn points separately. Plus you earn points for having lots of coins. Plus there are also a lot of interesting ways to get points based on specific dwarves. Like there's the Dwarg brothers. There's 5 of them, and more of them earn you tons of points. The gameplay feels varied each time. It feels really awesome. This is a game that by itself I think is fantastic. They have sent me the first expansion to also review, and that'll be coming soonish. At some point I'm going to try it out. I hear the first expansion is fantastic, but it blows my mind because I don't know what else you would add to this game to improve it. The game is already great. The only thing I could think of is maybe more hero dwarves, so more variety of things you could go for. Maybe. Yeah, because there's so much. There's so much in here that I like. The bidding is great. The set collecting is great. The engine building is great. I love that at the end of the first age, getting those award cards for having the most of each class of dwarf basically gives you an asymmetrical player power for the entirety of the second age. And the more players you are, the less you'll have of them. You know, it'll be to the point where each person's really probably only getting one, but they're really cool. A lot of them give you some interesting new kind of abilities, or let you upgrade a coin, or get you an automatic tiebreaker, which I already talked about. Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I could see myself playing it tons of times in the future, and I thoroughly understand why it is that this game is so ludicrously popular, why so many people have really been enjoying Nidavellir. Because of all these reasons, and I'm sure you can tell that I'm gushing, I'm going to give Nidavellir 9 out of 10 stars. This game is just phenomenal. I kind of feel like it's near perfect. It's getting up there. I absolutely love it, but I have to tell you, this is my favorite bidding game I have ever played. I'm going to say that again. This is my number one favorite bidding game of all time. I do like bidding games, but I don't think I've ever had one make it to a 9. 8 is about as high as they've gone before for me. This is my favorite bidding game of all time. Really fantastic. Really enjoy it. Highly recommend it to you if anything I talked about sounds cool to you, but keep in mind, if you're not a fan of bidding games, you might still like this game. Lynn does not like bidding games, and she's been thoroughly enjoying this game. She has a specific strategy she likes to go for, which is specifically she likes to get the hero dwarf that allows her to do her bids after everyone does theirs and wait and see before doing her bids, as well as getting the award for the automatic tiebreaker. The pair of them together is a lethal combination, and she loves to go straight for that. She's a big fan of that strategy. But there you have it, Nidavellir, 9 out of 10 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. If you've played Nidavellir, feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you thought of it. On the other hand, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, either on this video or on the game of Nidavellir, feel free to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this review and tutorial video and you'd like to see me do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.